All right, we are live, I think, with another recap of Survivor Maryland All-Stars. And wow, this is a night I was waiting to share with you guys. I feel like I said every week. It's been a lot of fun episodes. It's another crazy one tonight. And I have a great panel to come on and recap with us tonight. Oh my God, I didn't mute myself. I didn't follow my own advice. Okay. Well, thanks to everyone. We already have 50 people in the chat, so that's fun.
Where do we see the chats?
I posted it in the sidebar of this Google Hangout JS, so you can actually find the link. Oh wait, you might not have been here. I'll post it again. Just make sure you mute it. Don't fall under my mistakes. All right. Well, as always, we're very professional here on the Survivor Maryland recaps, and we're ready to go. And sorry for the slight delay. We had some technical difficulties with one of ours getting on, but we're good to go now. We got a lot to talk about. Let me introduce the four people who are here with me tonight to recap the episode. And we have our first look. This is really exciting because we have our first look at just a little taste of the what's next to come in Survivor Maryland after All Stars is over. And we just have four of the, 80 players or whatever who have played Survivor Maryland since I graduated. So we have four of them on tonight to recap the episode. The great thing about All-Stars is that there was a really solid break between All-Stars and the rest of the seasons. And these guys know nothing about what happened. And so much so that I think there were a lot of fake boot lists and spoilers about the first person out that I remember getting a lot of text from them being surprised. So we're going to talk about all that. First up on our left, we have Amanda from Season 7 of Survivor Maryland. Amanda, how are you doing? I think Amanda's frozen. She gets really happy with conversation stuff. Like she was so excited the whole time for me to talk. Okay, well that's a good start for Season 7. Let's move on to our other Season 7 person for now. We have Doug from Season 7. Doug, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Austin. Super excited to talk about this episode. It was a really fun one and excited to see what everyone else thinks about it.
I am too. The what? Chance, I didn't even introduce you yet. What are you saying?
He's like, oh, it was very good. Can't wait to talk. And I said, can't wait to watch Season 7.
Wow, really getting the teases in there early. We can get excited for 2024 over here.
Shots fired at Anders.
It's gonna be a great year. Yeah. We're gonna see all the people who hated on my editing speed. We're gonna see how Anders does. He's had a little bit of a head start. So, all right. Next up, we have from Season 8. We have JS. Don't call him J. It is JS.
That's right.
Don't forget the S.
I'm doing good, Austin. Thank you for inviting me. I've been loving this season. I have to go pee if I can leave and come back, but I'd be worried you guys would all chase me if I left, so I'm just gonna stay instead. So yeah, everyone else has to pee. Just hold it.
Despite the fact that you're on the West Coast, we would be there at the dumpster for you.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast, so I'm literally at work right now, and at any minute I could get a knock and have to go for a few minutes.
Wow,
so that's a little warning.
The LA life is crazy, right? This is a preview of a tweet that I'm going to post at some point this week. Spoilers, everybody. But I was by the dumpster the other day, and I took a picture of the legendary dumpster that Shubal peed at. And this spot, every time, it really makes me very excited. So, all right. I don't know where Amanda went. Hopefully she finds her way back in here.
I'll message her.
I don't know if maybe she drew some bad luck tonight. I don't know. Oh, silencing women in podcasts. I see. That is not true. I would never. No, I'm always. No way. I don't know where it sounds like I haven't gotten a message from either. So it sounds like her internet just died. Whatever. Before we go into the recap of everything, thanks everybody for all of your feedback and comments over the last week. It should be a really exciting week again. I love reading through all your guys' stuff. I've got some exciting stuff coming up, both in future episodes, and also I have some interviews coming up and a bunch of things that I'm excited to see get out there. So more to come on that as the Survivor Maryland Monday craze takes over the small corners of the internet. And we have Amanda back. Here she is.
I'm back. Sorry, it crashed. I don't know what happened.
No, she left.
You had this really big smile on your face, and I thought you were just really excited by what I was saying. It made me feel good until I realized it was frozen. But Amanda from season 7, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm excited about this.
Yes, it is good to have all of you guys on. Okay, so what was I saying? Yeah.
And Tony.
Yeah,
What?
don't forget about me. I'm here.
Oh my God, I didn't get to Tony. Wow. Okay, well, this is, like I said, I was tired and not prepared tonight. Tony, also from season 8. Tony, how are you doing tonight? Most of all, last but not least.
I certainly feel the least right now, but I'm doing okay. I'm excited about talking about this because this season's been really unpredictable, and I've just loved watching every episode. And yeah, you guys are pretty
Isn't it great that you have to come on here and predict an unpredictable season?
Yeah.
Tony was also the star on Sequester.
Yes, Tony also from Sequester season 10?
9.
9? Okay. What was it, like Comp 7, Holly 8, you 9?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So Ryan Maryland had an extended stay on Sequester. I guess it's been
I was gonna be on the next season, but then they canceled it.
Wait, are you serious?
No, I made that up.
You were lying. I knew it.
I would have believed it, so I don't know. Whatever. All right, so Tony, look, this is just the start of your journey. You're gonna have a big night tonight. By the end, you're gonna be their favorites. So let's get ready for it. We'll be good. Okay. So like I was saying, so we got stuff coming up. The recap's coming up. We have a couple fun ones in the next few weeks. For those, I said last week I was gonna message everybody about the recaps, and I haven't gotten around to everybody, but next week I'm planning to have a mashup of 2 college survivors battling it out in the recap, if that's even possible. So that'll be fun. Michigan and UVA, I think, is the plan, but well, who knows what will happen during the week. The week after that, I'm gonna have another theme of. I think that'll be a fun themed week. I'm not gonna spoil that one yet. And then a couple more podcasts, and we only have, I think, 5 episodes left now. So that's gonna be pretty crazy. And then we're done, and I fade off into the sunset. But it is 10:05 p.m. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. We've got a lot to talk about. Enough of me chattering. I want to get everybody's initial reactions to that episode and what happened. We can dive in from there. So Tony, since let's start off with you this time and see how you're feeling.
Okay, cool. About what? What do you want me to talk
The episode.
about?
How'd you feel about it?
Oh, the whole thing?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty. I don't know. I think Alex ended up in a really awkward he was in a really good spot, but I feel like the way he was playing, he didn't really know how to take advantage of being in that spot, like being in the middle. And I thought it was really awkward when he was like with one group and then he's like, oh wait, I'm going to go talk to the other group now. Peace, guys. Like, I thought that was really poorly done. And I thought that he had so much potential in the game, I thought, because of how he, the relationships he had with Micah and Evan, and then the 4 on the other side, Shubal. But I feel like he really executed that very poorly. And then I was really excited when I went down to Rocks. And yeah, I honestly thought Holly was gonna flip because I know Holly's a really strategic player. She's really smart, and I thought she was gonna flip. I was kind of disappointed to see her not flip, but I also thought going to Rocks was really exciting to see who was gonna go home. And yeah.
This has got to be a record of the earliest Alex G's name has been brought up in any recap across the whole season. So that's exciting.
He was the big player this episode. The episode was named after him.
I just had to point out how much of a failure that was.
I think this is Alex G's night. So I'm glad we're bringing him up.
It was cringeworthy. That's how bad it was. He was literally in the best position. Then he's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna go hang out with them." What?
Yeah, that was so stupid.
JS, what were your overall reactions?
I was really excited to see a Purple Rock draw. However, it was extremely stupid on everyone who let it happen. I just don't think you can play with your lives. I don't think it's worth it. Everyone who was okay with doing Purple Rocks made a mistake, and Shubal was the one that had to pay the price. I'm really upset at Shubal. Out of all the ways we've taken out, that's not the way we want to see our hero and our villain all at the same time. The one who's playing the game the hardest We don't want him to see him being taken out like that, but maybe it's like his punishment for like not actually convincing Holly to switch. I thought he would have gotten Holly to switch, but he didn't. So I kind of, maybe that's kind of his fault.
Doug, overall takes.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting to see that pretty much everyone has gotten seriously considered as a target this season. That's what makes it so great. Everyone's been playing their hardest, making these big moves. It's kind of crazy. I was shocked when everyone went to Rock. So it seemed like Holly, Victoria had these cross relationships. Shubal seemed to even have relationships with these other people. So the fact that they all were so willing to go to Rocks shocked me.
Mm-hmm. I actually agree with Doug for once.
And we're off. Okay, Amanda.
I think it's crazy actually that everyone sort of ended up like ignoring the partner twist. Like the two people that ended up getting votes, like Alex and Evan, like neither of them had a partner. So I think it's like very interesting that that's how like the votes ended up. And I think that has a lot to do with like sometimes how long it is before the next, like between challenge and tribal. But shout out to Chris T for finally winning immunity, and like when anyone needed it the most, he won it. I thought that was like a really, really fun challenge to watch. I think Dizzy Bat is always fun to watch. So yeah, I think also I agree with like someone said this before. I really thought Holly would flip. I'm really disappointed in that.
So we'll definitely break down everyone's decision. I was just gonna say a quick tease that you see a couple clips in the episode of me doing Dizzy Bat when I'm explaining the challenge, and stay tuned for this week when we see a big showdown between me, your guys' future host, and remember, yeah, and actually won't be the last we see of Shubal. Shubal narrates the.
Can we bet on who wins and who loses?
Yeah, sure. What are the predictions? This is what everyone's dying to hear in chat.
Betting on Anders. Have to bet on Anders.
I'm here for you, Austin.
Wait, who do you think wins?
The Dizzy Bat.
Yeah, I'm saying Anders.
Yeah.
I think Austin wins.
All right. Let's go, Amanda. Let's take him on.
Yeah.
Anders has already texted me that he's angry that I didn't support him.
Anders
is so sensitive. Okay. I just realized, I just want to say real quick, we have 100 viewers here in the chat tonight. So there are a lot of people dying to hear about the takes on the rock draw. So let's dive into it, because I know that everybody, we already heard some interesting takes right off the top. And I guess the name I just heard most to start was Holly, people talking about Holly, whether she should have flipped or not. So I guess that Holly seemed like she should have flipped. Is there anyone who wants to say that Holly should not have flipped and that she did the right thing by staying put?
Well, I feel like I can say, like, I can see where Holly's coming from, why she didn't flip, because it's like if she does flip, she's gonna like go with them and like vote out the rest of the people she was working with, and then she's gonna be at the bottom. Like, it doesn't seem like she has like tight relationships with anyone. Like she didn't have a tight relationship with Shubal, like based on the previous footage. Like maybe the one person she was tight with was Victoria. And like I feel like her working with Victoria super closely isn't the best thing, because they both played the same season and everything. So I just don't think it, like, she probably thought to herself, like, it doesn't make the most sense for me to do this right now, because it's not like there's people I can like fully trust over there. So I think she just wanted to show like the people she was working with that she's really loyal to them. So yeah.
That's a fair point. JS, why is that wrong?
Why is that wrong? I don't really think it's bad that Holly didn't flip. I think it's bad that like no one was willing to flip. I just don't think rock draws are smart. I think you can always get yourself out of any situation. You go a few more weeks, things change. People become bigger threats. You point to Shubal and you're like, you're really gonna let him get to the end? There's so many more moves that, can be made. As we saw in the preview for next week, the big happy alliance is not a big happy alliance. Micah and Evan aren't gonna go to final 2 together. All these big players are not gonna go to the end. So I think someone should have flipped, and the fact that no one flipped is just insane.
Well,
because
who's the person?
Putting your chance up to like a white rock or a purple rock or whatever color. I love that line by Shubal, by the way, when he voted. So funny. Someone should have flipped. I would have flipped. Everyone should have flipped.
So who would you make the case? Because I think it's easy to say from a general saying somebody should have flipped, but everybody has their own individual.
Who had the best?
Yeah, who had the best path forward, do you think?
I think King should have flipped.
What? He
Because
wasn't talking to anyone from the other side.
I know, but I think he just has a lot of movement in the game because he hasn't played a big game. I think anyone who's like played smaller games had more reason to flip.
Yeah,
The bigger targets, like Shubal, they don't really need to flip as much. But smaller targets, it's a time to make a move. Like, hey, I could have gone home on a rock draw, but I made a move, and that's why I'm now here at final 2, final 3.
Yeah,
you know, that's a case you can make.
I feel like you have to time it perfectly. Like, I feel like there's still a lot of time to be like, oh, this person made that, like at final 6 or something. They're gonna be like, oh, this person made that big move and it's gonna take credit for like the whole game or whatever, you know. So then they regret.
That's why I didn't think I was shocked they targeted Alex because I thought he was one of the people that probably could have flipped easily.
Yeah.
So the fact that they targeted him in the first place, I was like, they kind of just blew their shot of having anyone flip to their side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree I think King flipping wouldn't have been bad for him. Because I think of the guys left in the game, other than probably Alex G, he was probably like second lowest on like being targeted. Especially after, because I think the only reason anyone had targeted him before was Lecomte. And so now that he's gone, I think like why target King, even though he is still part of a partner. I think everyone like sees Shannon as like a bigger threat based on how many connections she has.
Let's talk about Shubal a bit, because I'm seeing him come up in the chat a lot about whether it was the right decision for him or not. And I think this is a really interesting case to discuss. Obviously, he paid the price, so you can be results oriented thinking and say, well, obviously he shouldn't go on the rocks in that case. But he had a 1 in 7 chance, and I think he was saying the whole episode that he was really working on just keeping the 5 intact at all. Do you guys think that he should have jumped and tried to go from there, or did he need to stay with the 5?
I thought Shubal definitely needed to stay. I thought his bridges were so burnt with everyone else. I thought there was no way they would ever want to work with him, that if he did flip, it's like he would have gone home. He just didn't have a fighting chance. I think if he had a regret, it would be playing his idol the last round so he couldn't play it this round and be safe from that rock draw.
Yeah, I do agree with that as well. I think the right move is for everyone to flip. However, he is the least person that should have flipped.
But he did argue as to why he played his idol, and I think that was like the argument he made was decent. He was like, Shannon, if Shannon wouldn't have voted with us, like he would have gone home. And I think that was smart on his move to play the idol to be safe. Like I think going home on a rock draw is not as bad as going home with an idol in your pocket. So
another thing I want to say is we have the top alliance, which is the one that Micah and Evan is in, and then we have the bottom alliance. I love that they referring to like, also like how many times did Alex get his bottom slapped during the episode? I counted at least 7 or 9 times. That was funny. And then they were called the bottom alliance. So not related though. So the bottom alliance, has less incentive to flip because they had one person on their tribe that was safe, or their team that was safe. CT.
Yeah.
And the top alliance, they're all available. So they have like that much more percentage of picking the purple rock. That's why I was even more shocked that Holly wasn't flipping. You know what I mean? I don't know what the odds are because I'm horrible at math, but it's like 2 to 4. So
I'm seeing 57% for the Shubal side, and I assume by the math that means 43% for the other side. Thanks to Vinny in the chat. It's got me. But that, in a game of in a one off, that's fairly close to 50. I'm not. This is going to get to bad arguments.
Yeah, but if one of them played an idol, there's even more chance. But like you do have to put in the percentages and the odds into it.
So somebody brought up earlier about the move to vote Alex G. I thought that was also something that was really interesting. Before the challenge, we saw it being maybe Chris Thomas or Alex G, but I think that the Chris Thomas community really did change things when it sort of took off that option. What did you guys think? And I think Evan was the one who really started this move of their decision to vote out the swing vote and kind of go for that move. Did you think that was good? I saw people saying it was good. I saw people saying it was bad. What did you guys think about it?
Well, I think if it worked out, it would have been really like awesome that they would, because like they needed to basically trick him into voting for some random person, like thinking that he would trust them. So I think if they were able to pull that off and like dupe him into doing that, I think that would go down as like one of the most legendary like Survivor moves. But since it like, then you always have to think about what's the worst thing that can happen if we do this, and the worst thing is like he votes with the other side, and then it goes down to like 5-5 and he can't flip because he's not voting again. So I think that because they didn't like think about that like well enough, then it kind of turns out like it turns into like a bad move because they didn't think it through all the way, and like he just like couldn't vote again, so they couldn't rely on him to flip and vote with them. So
I
What?
think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go for it.
No, you go for it. I still need
Okay.
like think about my thoughts, which are totally different than what Tony said.
This is just a different perspective on it. I think in terms of Evan and Micah, I think like they're capable of like convincingly lying to Alex G, and they could have really sold like, oh, hey, we're voting for this other person. Like, this is really what we're doing. But I think players like Ashley and King probably just like didn't put in enough effort to like really sell that lie. And he probably got cold feet and was like, I don't really believe that this is like what the actual plan is. I mean, I don't know. I think that isn't clear enough based on the edit, but I think that's a very much a potential that if I were him, I'd really consider like, oh, do I think there's any chance I'm being lied to right now?
Yeah, I think it also shows how good of relationships that there are just between the two alliances, even though they're strongly against each other. I think it showed that people didn't want to vote out this specific person. I think the easiest person for them was Alex G, just because he probably didn't have as good of individual relationships. But I do think that he was the worst because he was the one that probably would have flipped with them at the end of the day.
Yeah, I still wonder that. I don't even know if Alex would have flipped or not, but I think there was definitely a chance, and I think that there's definitely a lot of debate with that move, and I'm seeing a ton of debate for it in the chat. And I don't know, it's pretty interesting decisions by a lot of people here. I know JS had a thought on that, but he left us for now to go turn in his notes or pee or something. Who knows? We won't go follow him this time. But
this time, when did we ever follow it?
while we're here, and I'm sure we'll get JS back in for this, and I think he definitely wants to talk about it. Tonight was Shubal's night to go. I don't think a lot of people, were any of you guys expecting that at all?
He was my winner pick as of the end of last episode.
Yeah, I thought he was season based on the edit. He got like he was literally like in like half the airtime.
I had a feeling, I didn't think he had like a lot longer in the game, but I definitely didn't think he was gonna go, and definitely not based on a rock draw. So
yeah, I mean, it's not the typical rock edit for sure. The difference, I mean, you know, Alan and Shubal, pretty similar players, but a little bit of a distinction here. What was your guys' take on Shubal throughout the season? You know, let's give him a nice. It doesn't have to be nice. It can be a mean eulogy too. But watching him play, wondering what it would have been like to play with him or whatever. What do you guys think of him and everything he did?
Honestly, I thought he was really creepy at first. Like all his like confessionals like in front of the camera. Like I thought he was like a psychopath. Like he was like, I'm controlling this person, and then I'm controlling this person, and then this person's gonna do what I want them to do. So I was kind of like, whoa, this person is like taking things way too far. But then like after he kept getting his way and like kept manipulating people like throughout the whole game, I was like, wow, he's actually really good at this game. Like that's kind of crazy, but I definitely wouldn't want to play with him because I feel like he always gets his way, and I wouldn't want to like if I'm not working with him, he's gonna vote me out. So I would be scared to play with him. But that's just me.
Yeah, for coming in day one as the only one from his season, I was like, oh my gosh, this kid's screwed immediately. Like, oh well, it'll be cool to watch him for a little bit and just see if he actually finds these idols like he's claiming. But watching him throughout, I think he played a great game. He played with a lot of power. He did kind of like, I thought Chris Lecomte was very aggressive when he would get his way for the moves, but I thought Shubal was a lot more low key about it, which was very impressive. I also, just like his strategy with Sabrina, I thought at first was like really stupid. I was like, everyone's going to figure out you're lying. But then it worked really well to his advantage and got him to a position where if this rock draw went the right way, he could have done really well and gone a lot further.
yeah, I definitely appreciate like how much passion he had for the game and how like he really seemed to be like giving it his absolute all. And I think Shannon at the beginning of this episode was like, he said something about oh, like people are having to weigh their personal life versus their like gameplay, and for him it's all gameplay. And I think that like I just really respect that. And I think I like how like creative he was. Like I like how it wasn't just like, here's this big bold move. It was well thought out and thought of like different people's strengths and different people's weaknesses and really played to those. And I think the best thing he did in the game actually was when Michelle got voted out.
Well, that was so. I've had this interesting thought because of whether Shubal is a hero or a villain, and I think that for a lot of people, he became a hero of the season just based off rooting for him and all his antics and becoming a bit of an underdog and maybe who he was aligned with or whatever. But when I was going through it, I mean, I think that to every one of the players in the game, he would be a villain just because of how incredibly scheming he was. But I think the point you made about creativity is a really good one. And it was something that, as I was going through my seasons, it was always something I tried to challenge people on before they started, was like, there's so much room to do whatever you want in this game. I think Shubal embodied that more than anybody. And it's certainly, I mean, there's definitely arguments that a lot of people were talking around the merge about Shubal taking too many risks and playing too all over the place, whatever. But, you can rebound. There is a lot of time. And I just love that people coming into the season had really no idea of who this character was and were not ready for the unknown season 1 player to be one of the major characters of the season. So that was fun. But enough Shubal for now. We'll talk to him in a little while. He'll come on a little bit after we talk about a few more things. You brought up Shannon, and I want to talk because I don't know if we gave her fully enough credit last week or talked about her enough in her story. But we had this fallout from the 5 voting together to get out in the comp last week. And Shannon and Alex G kind of both saw themselves in the middle position. What did you guys think of the way Shannon kind of continued from last week? And did you notice anything in particular for her tonight? And also, we can talk about Victoria and Chris Thomas on that side too. That was like a loaded question, but
I think for sure it definitely, from the little bit I can tell, she's definitely working really hard to get closer to Victoria, which I think is a really smart move on her part. Because whether Victoria gets voted out or not, which I think it's kind of likely one of the two of them will, just based on the partner thing, I think it's kind of like butter that person up before they go to the jury. So I think working on that is really good. Or, I mean, I think they could make it. I don't think there's a very good chance both of them make it very far. But still, regardless, I think it's smart that she's working to get closer to Victoria.
Yeah, I think she's had a very good grasp on the game so far. Like, she's flipped at the right times and understood when people weren't on her side at the right times. Like, she's definitely someone she's been super fun to watch in everything she's done. So it's been really cool to see that. And I think that she made the right move by trying to like stick with her alliance, her new bottom alliance right now, but understands that at some point she's going to have to vote out Victoria or Chris Thomas.
Yeah, I think right now Shannon's actually one of my favorite players just because I think from season 4, she's made such a huge like transformation. I think in season 4, she was kind of like one-dimensional. Like it seemed like she was just good at challenges, and like when it came down to strategy, like she just had Evan and Micah, and it didn't really seem like she was talking to anyone. Like she didn't really have any other relationships. And so I think this time around, she's definitely shown that she has like the strategy. She's good at challenges, and like I think she's just playing a really good game. And when like people are lying to her, she like straight up will just be like, why are you lying to me? Why are you lying to me? And like it really catches them off guard, and she has just such a good grasp on like what everyone's actually trying to do in this game that I think she can go really far. And I don't think other people realize yet, at least based on the footage, like it doesn't seem like people are like catching on that she's like as good of a player as she is so far. So I really hope that she can go far. Like I'm rooting for her in this game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have hated to play with her. I would have been super intimidated to play with her.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredibly intimidated. But I respect how she's playing. I think for me, it's a little hard. It's like weird to watch someone just call someone out on bullshit like that. But I think like that is like her strength, and I think she's playing to that strength. So.
Yeah, and I really like how she's adaptable too. Like when she found out like Chris was lying to her, she wasn't like like, and when she found out everyone lied to her about like that one vote, like a couple, like either last episode or the one before, she wasn't like, oh, my time's up. Like, I feel like the old Shannon would have been like really frustrated and like have thrown like a hissy fit. But like, like when she was in that car, like recording her confessional, she's like, no, I'm going to rise up against this, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like she's still playing with that attitude. Like, no matter what happens, like she's always going to like try to like strategize, which I didn't really see from her in season 4. So I'm really like excited about that because she's playing much more of a social game now.
So let's talk, because Amanda brought up that she thinks it could be Victoria or Chris Thomas next week. Do you want to go into that a little bit, and then we can start talking about what we think is happening coming up in the future? Because I think that we can dive into a few more things with questions cover whatever, but I think that what happened this week was fairly straightforward, and I think predicting what's to come is maybe going to be more interesting, unless we, go ahead and explain what you were saying with you think Kristen or Victoria or Chris Thomas are going.
I just think, like, based on some of the chatter towards the end, that, like, someone was like, oh, well, does that mean we got the partner thing? Like, some people are still clearly confused on who Victoria's partner is. But, I mean, I think, like, beginning of next episode, they'll find out, like, oh, no, like, now it definitely is Victoria and Chris Thomas, and I think that's going to be put a bigger target on them, and I think I really can't judge. I don't have a good idea of like whether like how much Victoria has been working to like build relationships with people. I think like that's been hard to see just because there's been so much else going on. But I think if she hasn't, then she might be the one to go. But also, I mean, Christy just won an immunity. That in a lot of ways puts a target more on him. Like if I were Evan or Micah right now, I would want Christy gone because, I mean, he fought pretty hard in that immunity. So.
Yeah, I agree. I could definitely see one of them being a bigger target. I'm curious how the idol will play out because I feel like they know that Shubal doesn't have, or that his was kind of fake. Because someone even called it out in the episode at Tribal. I forget who it was. But they called it out, and it was clearly visible. You showed, did a close up on it. It was like out in the open. Because I guess they dug at it at 3 a.m. and there was still something open. So I was like, I wonder if they're gonna figure it out and run to the idol spot and see it literally laying there and use that to their advantage. And they know they're targeted, so they could use that. I'm excited to see if that turns into something too.
JS, you're back.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm like literally at work and I had to go run and do something.
What's up, JS?
We talked about the predictions for who's in the final 3. Just kidding. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, wait, the final 3 this season?
We can get to that eventually.
No, you're
we did a little recapping of our thoughts on Shubal, and we've been talking about Shannon and
I'm just so sad that Shubal went home that way. Also, can I just say, when I watched season 4, Shannon didn't make any impression on me, but this season, like, she is like the queen. I'm in love with her. She's so amazing. I'm in love. But I don't remember her in season 4
at all.
Like very little. Like I don't like people. Maybe I watch things quickly, and I've an attention span of like -40. But I don't know. Like she's so great. I really like everyone except for like Alex.
Wow! After his big night, out of the shadows.
And that's it.
You like Ashley?
Oh my God! What? I'm obsessed with Ashley. Ashley is like my biggest obsession. Ashley is probably the best one in there as a person, as a player, as like a human being, as a woman. The best player of all time, Survivor Maryland, is Ashley. She's just so incredible. She's my favorite. Every day I write to her and I'm like, Ashley, you're my lover. I love you. And she's just like, hi, who are you? And then she brings a little heart. But I love her so. Everyone that knows me knows that I love Ashley. I was so worried that when Austin asked me to be on today, that it was going to be Ashley's exit. I was like, oh my God, Ashley's going home. Ashley's going home. And I just thought that it was her exit. And then they discussed voting for her today. And I died. Oh.
I love how sarcastic she is.
Yeah.
I know. I was gonna print out a picture of her today for this podcast, but I didn't have time because I'm still at work. But it's just like this like photo of her, and she's just like after the first tribal. So yeah. Ashley said, I have met the love of my life. We've yet to meet, but she appears like later on, but that's all I can say. Like after Survivor Maryland, like All-Stars.
Wait, what? I missed that.
She appears in some way or another later. I made sure of it.
What? Oh, okay. I see where you're going at. I was like, did I miss something? Was she on like a TV show? Did she like?
No. Like she's in like future Survivor Maryland's.
Okay, she's on Real Survivor. I'd be about that.
No, she's not. She's not. But
okay, I figured it out.
Like, call Probst. Like, what are they thinking? Like they should scout her. Like Feluke is amazing, but they should also scout, Ashley.
I was gonna say they should call it Spillman, but
Oh, awkward. Ooh, if people don't know,
too soon?
Yeah, she was fine.
Half this video call gets that. Anyway, let's go back into talking about next week. So Amanda laid out something that she thinks is going to go on. What do the rest of you think is kind of the way things are going to break down? Obviously we have the 5 and 4. The lines were drawn, as Micah said. Do you think those will hold? If so, what happens with those sides? Who do they go after? What do you see happening?
I'm curious. Out of even the preview for the next episode, you would see there's certain people that didn't want to vote out other people, which I was like, what? Like things that you didn't even expect. Or you would have some people didn't want to vote out Victoria, then some people didn't want to vote out Chris Thomas, and a lot of people haven't even wanted to like write down Chris Thomas's name all season. Like they've both been able to really avoid this vote. So if Eric wants it, but to be between one of them two, which I'm sure he does to get this partner immunity, I'm curious how the alliance will decide, and if they can't agree on someone, will other people make a move to target someone else?
Yeah, I kind of feel like Chris and Victoria are going to be the last pair standing. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that, I just feel like Victoria, at this point in the game, and just, obviously I'm a huge fan of Victoria. She's, one of my friends and everything like that. But I feel like the way the edit is, she just seems like she's expendable to a lot of people. She doesn't seem like she has, super solid connections with anyone. And then Chris Thomas has just been always avoiding the vote, this whole game. Everyone wants him out, but he's just been able to, slide by, somehow. So I just feel like no one's going to be able to get them out. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like they've been sneaking under the radar.
Who do you guys think is going home next? I agree that next week we will see one of the pairs go home because how can you not? It's safety till final 7. It's right there. All you have to do is vote for one of them. But who's it gonna be? I don't know. Myself. I would say maybe King goes.
I was thinking King.
I
think Shannon might vote.
I was gonna say, I think. I don't know. No, I think actually it could be Shannon.
How does that happen? Because I don't think the 5 people on top stick together.
Wait, who do you think is gonna split apart from that?
I think Holly might.
I don't think Holly has strong enough connections with the other people, and she keeps saying Chris T has lied to her a bunch of times.
Yeah, she has said that a lot.
Oh.
And her and Micah.
Ashley.
Her and Micah seem to be talking pretty closely, but I don't know.
I don't see Evan and Micah moving. They're
Yeah, I don't know why they've been stuck with each other like that, because I feel like they just put a huge target on each other. And one of them is gonna go. Probably Evan, I think, is more likely than Micah to go. Because Evans is seen as the brains, and Micah's. I feel like Micah's always just associated with the shadows. He just seems like
Evan's seen as the brains.
But I think Micah is actually the brains. I think no.
Wait, what?
I think Micah, until this past episode, I think Micah was coming up with a lot of the smarter moves that were happening, and I think Evan's just the more social one.
Yeah, I feel like
Micah was so dumb this episode. He came across.
I'm saying this episode it switched. Previous to this episode.
No, Micah, this episode was suggesting a split vote.
Well,
I don't know what that was. That was
what?
I'm just saying, like, if there's someone gonna be voted out, I feel like it's more likely to be Evan because, like, he's just like, I don't know, like he seems like a.
I think we saw that when he got votes today or tonight at Tribal.
Yeah,
it proved that it'd be Evan over Micah.
And like in season 4, Evan went first, and then it was Mike. Like, I just feel like Evan's always just like a bigger threat.
I think he's a little bit stronger in challenges from the 2 seasons we've seen him too.
Definitely.
But I think they both are really strong in
They
challenges.
should both be proud that they made it to Final 9. Like, they are huge targets.
Yeah.
And, like, they're somehow still here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, what do we think? Is it a good time to bring on Shubal for a bit?
Sure.
Go for it.
Shubal,
up?
if you're listening, now's your cue. I told him 5 minutes, like 2 minutes ago, but we'll see if he comes on like in a second. While we're waiting,
Did I disappear?
I think you were always here.
Oh.
No, you've been here.
I think we lost you for a bit before. Oh, Chad's getting excited for Shubal. Quick, think of your questions for Shubal, everybody. We will try to ask. I don't have a lot of prepared questions. It's Shubal, so who knows where this will go. Let's see when he can move on. Real quick, because we'll get to winner picks, and we'll do a little bit more extended predictions later. I know JS got excited when I said final 3 predictions. So, who are you guys? What are you rooting for to happen next week? With my next question.
King goes home. He's so boring. He does nothing.
Oh God.
Is he in the chat?
I'd be fine with Ashley going home. JS.
Oh my God!
Same.
I don't think it's very realistic. It's not going to happen, but
No, I think she's here till the very end, to be honest.
I mean, I agree.
But
I'm gonna get worried when I ask.
Shubal's on, y'all. Shubal's on.
Well, I can't see his video yet, so
Yeah, same for him.
I see his like little face, and he's like,
I'm gonna get worried. What is happening? This is working.
no, King can go. Loving Victoria this season, even though she's always like creepy in the business school when we were students. Is she on the chat? But she was creepy.
She was.
Someone agreed with me, right?
No one agreed with you. Also, she
I
has
don't think any of us
wait.
know. None of us
Stop.
are business.
Someone said that this boy is the Frankie Grande of Survivor Maryland.
That's what I said.
Slit my throat. Oh my God.
That's what I said.
I'm gonna say that I know JS, and I've watched some Frankie Grande, and JS is not Frankie Grande.
Okay, wait. Shubal's here. Everyone, please bow down to like the player of the season.
What's
Oh
up,
my
Rob?
God.
We have Jordan Shubal here. Shubal, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, it's a rough night. Been
So-
like, I got nervous during the rock draw. I'm like, oh my God, is it gonna be me? Is it gonna be me? I don't know. I didn't know how I was gonna seem on camera because I just remember being in person. I saw that rock, and all I hear is just yes from everyone else there. So I didn't know I was gonna see him on camera, but it was a great episode, and I thought it was edited fantastic, and it was a great way to go.
Yeah, it's been a rocky night for you. So I do think it's interesting how that rock draw compared to the Guts and Glory one, where like if you just watch the two of them back to back, which I of course did today. You have the Guts and Glory one, which everyone's just like really quiet, and it's like a very like quiet, somber moment, and then all of a sudden, like this one is just like people running around. Holly's like ripping off her shirt. Like, well, what was it like in the moment? Like, what was your initial reaction to when it happened?
Honestly, when I saw they were voting Alex, I was so hyped because I'm like, this is 100% going to a rock draw. And the whole time we were just trying to convince the 5, like, we're going to rocks no matter what. They'll cave. If they don't cave, we have the odds. Like, we're the bottom alliance. We have nothing to lose. And so I was pretty excited to go to rocks. Like, I knew at least half of the game wanted me out. So to have a 1 in 7 chance of going out instead of like a 50% chance, I mean, I was ecstatic at that.
Yeah, well, we know what you did say a lot of times. I'm excited to go to rocks, and I think that might have been your biggest flaw in the game.
I was obnoxiously screaming like rocks, rocks, rocks. Part of it was to try and like convince the other side we were so tight that there was no way we were flipping. And so hopefully Holly or Eric would have flipped or something like that, or maybe Micah would have got scared. But I mean, I doubt Micah would have flipped. But
I have a question.
Go for it.
Do you regret, like personally, not flipping like yourself?
I thought about that, but honestly, I just think it would have been a bad move for me to flip because the other side all wanted me out. I was completely vulnerable without, you know, my people, without the threat of this fake idol, without, you know, basically they would have enough to vote split even if they thought the idol was real, if I abandoned my alliance. And also I worked so hard to put that 5 together. I felt like they were like my babies. And I wanted that group to stay together and go to the end. So I was pretty invested in not flipping. It never really crossed my mind. You can see me literally jump to go revote right away because there was no doubt in my mind that I was ready to go to Rocks. And I mean, I still think it was the smart move, even though I did get out.
Yeah, can't be too results oriented. Let's talk about more.
But like anyone who gets voted out at a rock draw, the first thing you say is like, "Do you regret not flipping?" Like every single person that's ever been voted out, they always could ask that. So I had to ask it.
All right, settle down.
I think it's a totally valid question. I'm not decrying the question. I think it's fair to ask anybody. But there was a lot more to your game, Shubal, than just the rocks. And I know that you said in your last words even that you felt a lot of closure for it. But going from season 1 to All Stars in general. Season 1, you had a really heartbreaking ending for yourself. Obviously, people don't really know too much about this, but I think it was something that left you with a pretty bitter taste in your mouth. And you came back for All Stars. What was your experience like overall with Survivor Maryland? And this is not a chance for you to praise me. I'm talking just about yourself and playing.
Greatest. I love Austin. No, honestly, Survivor Maryland meant a lot to me. I'm super competitive, so just to be able to be around those competitive people and play this crazy game that was social and physical and manipulative, but also that leaked in the real life was a great experience. But what's kind of underplayed for me is the fact that I was a super senior. I knew none of these people going in, like literally not at all. And 99% of my friends had graduated because, you know, it's my 5th year. And these kind of became my new best friends throughout the year at college. And even though you see them like hating on me and just wanting me out no matter what, we were all super close. And it's been 3 years and I still talk to these people at least once a week. I hang out with them all the time. And so it's kind of, I feel like what you put together, Austin, was really special. And that we can be hating each other in the game in 1 second, but then just hanging out with each other and kind of like 3 years later, still in each other's lives. And so this has been an amazing experience for me. And I've literally loved every second. I love watching it back to see everybody else's perspectives. Even when people are just shitting on me, I love it.
I was going to say, you pretty much just validated Ashley's statement that you didn't have a personal life.
Oh, that was so great by Queen Ashley.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
It was true. Well, my personal life was, the problem is having a personal life. I was playing way too hard to have a personal life. This week I go out because we decided to go out to Arlington and like take a night off and like go out. Next thing you know, I come back. It's like a hard 5-5 split. Nothing has moved. It's like 2 hours before tribal, and I haven't talked to Holly to try and either convince her or bully her into like switching. And I feel like with my game, if I wasn't playing 100% of the time, it just wasn't going to work out for me.
Yeah, I think something too, when you talk about things not moving, whatever, I think that you playing so hard all the time, I think one thing that did happen was in this week in particular with your alliance, and I think a lot of people just kind of expected you to go and make those moves and flip things around. But I want to ask you, I know you said you're competitive, but plenty of people are super competitive and don't play the game that you played. So what inspired you to play this super creative game, to go after Michelle, to make these fake idols, to lie about hooking up with Sabrina? What are all these? Like, did you have players that you watched that inspired that, or was it just? What made you kind of go into that mode?
Well, Tony is my favorite player of all time, but I don't think that happened till after the season.
He'd already played, I think. I don't know how much if you had seen it yet, but
Yeah, I watched. I don't know, maybe if I had seen it or not. But basically, I mean, you see from the comments, like I was the first 4 episodes, I was laying low and just trying to like build relationships because I literally had no relationships. And everybody's saying, "Oh, you're playing soft. You're like boring. This is annoying." And I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to get to the end and people be like, "Why did you win? Why should you win?" I wanted to get to the end, and if I got there, it'd be obvious that I should be at least, considered to be a winner. And so basically, I wanted to take control of my own fate and not just hope that like the gods of Survivor, like LeCompte, were gonna like not target me, or that Evan was gonna protect me to the end. I wanted to take control of my own fate and and put a bigger target on my back, but at the same time, it definitely allowed me to build relationships through myself instead of through other people.
Yeah.
I have a question for Shubal.
Yes, go for it.
I thought it was interesting the strategy to confuse people with who the partners were. But by saying that you were a partner with someone, even though your partner wasn't in the game, and being a huge target already, doesn't having a partner make you a bigger target?
Yeah, but so we originally created in season 4, episode 4, Sabrina had like off the cuff comment that she tricked Eric into thinking Chris Thomas was her partner. And then I talked to Victoria and she like kind of was, not telling him. So we kind of continued to lie because at the tribe swap, I wanted Chris Thomas to work with Sabrina because I knew Sabrina needed help. And I thought I was in a pretty good position on my tribe. So I kind of just continued to lie because I felt like I still wasn't going to be targeted, even if people thought I was with Victoria, and that Sabrina would have a better chance on her tribe if Chris Thomas was more inclined to work with her. And then by the time she got voted out, I had an idol and I was deep in the lie that I kind of wanted to be this big target because I felt like I had a bunch of spies in all the other alliances that I wanted to be the target. So I felt like I would know when people were targeting me. I could just play my idol and take control from there. So I wasn't afraid of the target. Also, I know Victoria's a very sneaky player, and giving her this tangible reason to want to work with me, want to keep me around, and not betray me kind of was also comforting, the fact that I felt like everybody I aligned with had a good reason besides from, oh, I like Jordan, oh, I trust Jordan, but a good tangible in-game reason to work with me and to tell me things and to keep me around. So I felt like the increased target was definitely worth the increased information I was getting.
I don't know if I was like not paying attention for 1 second. Sorry, not personal. I was trying to look at my notes, but did you answer? People have been asking me to ask you whether you ever considered playing your real idol on Sabrina at that vote for the merge.
The problem is, so I don't think you showed it, but LeCompte messed up and he sent me this. He sent me.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, he sent me a screenshot of the message I sent him right before Tribal about how like Sabrina could have an idol, they should flip to Chris Thomas or Senti, and he obviously meant to send it to Holly. I'm like, I think he meant to send this to Holly. He's like, yeah. So I could tell he was very sketched out. Also, just talking to him, he was sketched out. And I knew he was close with Evan, and Evan kind of ran our tribe at the time. So I knew I was in a lot of trouble. So I didn't really think about playing it for her just because I knew I was in some serious trouble. If I was in a better position, maybe. Also, I didn't even know they went to Tribal that night. She didn't tell me the night they were going to Tribal. She just called me like, hey, Jordan, I'm voted out of the game. And I was like, what? What do you mean you're out of the game? Like, we have so much more manipulating to do. Like, did you try and trick Chris Thomas yet? Like, have you tried to trick Eric? Like, I don't know. I felt like I was kind of not in tune to when their Tribal was. I was, trying to deal with class and stuff. And I felt like there was a lot of other options to explore before playing an idol that week.
Any more questions starting for the panel for now, or interested in if audience has questions too, feel free to chat those now. But do you guys
I really liked when Shubal told Alex G the truth of his partner. I love the whole, oh my God. I loved everything like, I'm going to tell people stuff so they, bring it back in. Yeah. Loved it. The narration
was
incredible. So amazing. Props to you as a character. Props to Austin for editing it. But it was so wonderful. I thought that was the right move at the right time. So I want to applaud you for that.
I knew he knew because I had heard Victoria had been telling everyone, been telling Holly, been telling Ashley, been telling, I think she might even told Alex like who her actual partner was. And I'm like,
I was going through that. It was so weird because when I was putting the secret scenes together this week, there was a scene where Victoria tells Alex, but then there was the confessional that Alex has in the secret scenes about how he wants you and Victoria to win it. So I think Victoria did tell some people, but I'm not sure if people believed it or what. I think everybody was just super confused.
There was so much misinformation that people don't know what to believe. They didn't know if the idol was real or fake. But, people being people, they're going to be cautious. So even if they think it's fake, they're going to have to make decisions as if it was real. So even though people might be 80% sure that Victoria and Chris Thomas are partners, they can't know for sure. And that's going to mess with their gameplay. And hence why, like, the whole idol situation, I'm sure they would have rather thrown votes on me, but because the possibility that idol could be real, they didn't throw votes on me. And I think that's a big part of my game is just creating these little bits of chaos and letting people in my alliance slowly learn the truth so we can make smart decisions together.
So
I have a
speaking,
question.
we have a question about the idol thing. How much, Shubal, did you look a lot for that idol that was by the Testudo? Because we saw like that stakeout, everyone like chasing after everyone, and you had the fake one, and everyone was so paranoid that you actually had the real one. That to think like, did you ever think that it was still out there? Did you look and just couldn't find it? Like, what was up with that?
I was gonna look for the real one, but I was late to tribal, so I just went to tribal. I'm like, oh, I'll look after tribal. So I kind of regret that, but. The problem is I was the last one to get the clues because Evan and Micah had the genius fake clue idea. So I was literally the last person to read the real clues. And so I was like, there's zero chance. We're in an all-star season. There's zero chance that it's been here for over a week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't even know the timeline at this time, and nobody has found it. Like, and literally Chris Thomas and Shannon dug the entire Testudo, like, all the way around. You could see the dirt flying everywhere before Alex even got there. And Chris texted me, he's like, hey, we looked for like 30 minutes. There's zero chance it's still there.
I hate when idols are underground.
Same.
Yeah.
I love it.
Did anyone think that it was weird that Alex G had such a problem with people like stalking him? Like
that was annoying. That was so annoying.
Yeah, cringeworthy.
Like it's not a big deal. It's like you're playing Survivor. He's like, when is this okay? And I was like, when you're playing Survivor.
And I don't know what the whole thing was. He was like, and we were all sober. Like, yeah, were you not going to be sober? Like, what? Like,
I think Ashley mentioned something about
he could have been drunk
and some drugs or something.
Yeah. But I think to that, basically, we let Alex have his clue. We let him look for it because we kind of said, we trust you. You'll tell us if you find it. And, if you don't find it right away, we'll all look together. Whereas the other side basically treated him like a child that they need to look after, and they need to make sure that he wasn't doing anything behind their back. And Alex and I had like an hour-and-a-half long conversation till like 4 a.m. after that whole search. And he was kind of too honest with me. He was like, yeah, I was thinking about voting with them this week. It's smart. I just can't take you to the end. But like, this was enlightening to me that they don't trust me and that you guys trust me way more and that you guys are easier and better to work with. And so I feel like that little scene was one of the big deciding factors in why Alex decided to come with us.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was just how like manic the stalking. Like, I think not just the fact that they were there, but like they even explained it to him before the tribal too. Of like Evan like had followed him on his bike, and then like gotten off of the car and like waited for him, and then like popped out of the bush, and then somebody else was driving. I think it was more of the manner of it necessarily than the fact.
This happens every season though. Like sometimes you don't get on footage, but it happens, and like. It just like it's like you're on campus, like you're in a safe area. And like we all know each other for like 60 plus days or 80 days or we're at day 50 something now. I don't think it's that weird.
Yeah.
No matter how you have to play the game. Like no matter what you do.
Yeah, if you don't
I
want
just can't believe Alex showed it to anyone except for the one guy he had to show it to. I would have ripped it up and it would have been gone. But everyone from every tribe, every team was like looking at it. And I was like, what? How did this happen?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
There's no way it's still here. Like Evan and Micah had this clue for 2 weeks.
That's true. That's true.
Duncan Foley had a clue to it. Like Evan even had time to make a fake clue for it, which he probably had it. Like, how has nobody found this clue? I mean, this idol. It blew my mind. So I was like, there's no way it's still here. So we weren't too worried about it.
I saw an interesting question in the chat that I wanted to kind of build off of, and I can't find it right now, but it was basically along the lines of, and what we heard in the secret scenes today, you kind of say, I think I have 0 chance of winning, but I kind of just want to like cause chaos, mess stuff up. At what points in the game did you think you did have a chance to win? And like going into tonight, did you feel like you had a shot if the rock draw went your way, or?
I thought if I made it to the end, I had a chance. I just thought making it to the end would need for being. I feel like I blew up my game with the whole Sabrina fake idol situation, but I have 0 regrets about that because that was one of the most fun things I got to do all game. But from that point on, when the entire other tribe, was sketched out by me and like knew I was this sneaky player, I felt like from that point on, I had no chance to win because I didn't think I'd be able to pull enough moves every single week to be able to save myself. Also, even within my own alliance, like I talked about that talk Alex and I had, he said like, there's 0 chance I can take you the final 2, you'll kill me, which like good for him for being honest, but I'm like, nobody in my own alliance, maybe Shannon because we had a final 2 and I did trust Shannon, possibly Chris Thomas, if like say Victoria was out of the game for some reason would take me, but I knew that even people in my own alliance were going to take me, so I knew that I had no shot, and I just wanted to make it as messy as possible. I wanted to kind of make my mark on the game because I kind of saw it as me versus LeCompte, like this good versus evil, like whole dynamic. And once that happened, I was kind of at peace with however the rest of the game went. And I don't even remember what the question was. I'm just rambling.
I have a simple question. Do you have regrets? Oh, why am I hearing myself now? Whatever. Do you have regrets about anything that you wish you had done during the season, or are you totally at peace? Or not done?
See, the first season I had some regrets because there were some decisions that I felt like I could have made that were smarter, and I kind of compensated for them. But even though it turned out the way it did, and I placed a lot worse than my first season, I feel like statistically, they were smart decisions that I made all the way through, except maybe some of the more bold decisions, but those were just more fun. And this game, I feel like if you're not having fun, what's the point of playing? So as you can clearly see, our alliance of 5 is having way more fun than the other alliance of 5. We're like rocks, and Ashley's like almost crying in confessional, like this isn't even fun anymore. Like, but I think all the moves I made were not perfect, but from what I knew at the time, were definitely, I'd say smart plays. Like I'm glad I didn't get backstabbed, or that I knew who was coming after me and who wasn't.
Yeah, I think you probably like the fact that you never got taken down, right? Like you went out on your own, not on your own terms, but before you
yeah, but
did you another question I had, I'm sorry, I'm gonna shut up after this and let other people ask questions, but you and I talked a lot about as I was editing the season, you were very worried about people totally hating you, and I think I knew you'd have a big reaction. You're a huge character of the season, but I thought there would be maybe more. I remember someone after the Michelle vote was saying Austin's like trying to make us root for him, and to me, like I didn't care if people rooted for you or not, right? Especially the way you go out. Like I don't try to craft in the way that forces people to feel one way, but I was entertained by you. I feel like a lot of people should be, but I also could see people being irritated by you or hating you. What's the reaction been like, and what did you expect going in versus how it's been for you?
It's been a lot more positive than I thought. Like I knew the Michelle vote was coming. So when people were calling me bland before that, I was like, oh my God, they're going to absolutely hate me after the Michelle vote, because I love Michelle, but that poor girl, I just completely blew up her game in the span of like 3 days for like the smallest reason. I think it's just because she thought I was like an outsider, and I was like, oh, I'll show her. But it was a smart move for me, and it kind of positioned myself well, and it kind of put Alex G in a good position, which was important to me because he was kind of my eyes and ears, because who would think we would work together. But no, I had people after that episode like DM me like, oh, I hate you, I can't wait till you get voted out. You're like, oh, you're the worst. But then like those same people made a complete 180 as soon as I like started aligning with like Shannon and Chris and made this whole bottom alliance. They're like, okay, like we can be friends again, like we like you again. So I feel like people are very hot and cold about me, and it's been a lot better overall than I expected.
You guys on the panel, do you have more questions for Shubal?
Yeah, wait, I have a question.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go
Go
ahead.
on.
I have actually a better question. I'll let Tony stop. Sorry.
Frankie, shut up.
All right, Tony, then.
Gotta stop that now.
Okay, my question is, so like after Lecomte is out of the game, and like I guess before the rock draw, who do you think is like your biggest threat? Like who's the biggest threat to you to like win the game?
The biggest, see, from that point on, so even though I think that move was definitely a huge part due to Shannon, due to Chris Thomas, even due to, Alex G a little bit, I think it was seen as my move a lot by the other people because I played the idol. It kind of seemed like, and because I was so vocal at Tribal and Lecomte was so set on getting me out, it appeared to be my move. So I felt like from a pure like who deserved the win standpoint, I had a really good shot at winning. So my thought of who would be the most likable would be my biggest threat. So I thought somebody like Eric or Holly or even like Evan on the other side would be my biggest threats, just because like the people who are on the jury aligned with them, or they have like these super likable personalities that are just better at swaying people on the jury than me. They would have been like, oh, fuck Shubal, he's such a game bot. Like, he's so annoying. He just lied to everyone. How is that good gameplay? So yeah, I thought likable people would be my biggest threat. But honestly, I wasn't even worried about threats. I was just worried about getting to the next week, because if I made it through Rock Draw, unless we got the majority alliance, I had no idea how I was gonna get to the next week. I was like, oh, I could pull some more fake idol shenanigans. I could, I had a lot of ideas, but it was definitely stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you had got, like, just my opinion at the time, like, I think if you had somehow gotten to the end, I think you would have won easily. I don't think there was anybody who could have challenged you.
Totally.
I think the way, like, you see the way you go out, and I think, like, maybe people would have been frustrated and bitter, but I don't think people viewed, like, I think people, like, you were so crazy and in everyone's mind, like, even the peeing thing, I feel like that, like, people would have, I don't know if that's a question, Amanda. Amanda, what was your question? Right.
I had kind of two questions, but mostly the first one is, you kind of touched on this a little bit. Like, you said you came back from Arlington and you like didn't have time to convince Holly, but did you ever try and get Victoria to convince Holly? Because I actually I obviously you lived this, I'm just watching it, but I think that maybe would have been your best shot.
See, I knew they were talking, and so that ran through my head, but I don't remember, but there was not a lot of downtime between the last vote and this vote.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of catching up to do on like work. I decided to go out, my mistake. But yeah, no, that was a plan to kind of get Victoria to try and convince Holly to flip. But that would have set up like a whole nother batch of issues for me. If I didn't have any relationship with Holly, then she and Victoria could easily turn against me. But yeah, no, I definitely thought about reaching out to Victoria and having her do that. I was kind of hoping that Victoria would do it on her own, and that maybe Chris Thomas would try and work on Eric, and that Shannon might work on Eric a little bit. But by the time I got back and I started talking to people right the day of Tribal, it seemed like nothing had moved and nobody had really talked to anybody on the other side. At least that's not what I heard. And so I was like, all right, crap. So I thought it'd be harder to convince somebody else on the other side. So I just wanted to make sure the 5 was willing to go to the Rocks for me. Because that's honestly what I thought was going to happen. I thought it was going to be 5 votes me, 5 votes them. And it all depended on whether Alex G was going to flip or not.
I have a question as well. Can you guys hear that?
We can definitely hear you.
Oh, okay. So when you were looking for the idol with like every single person on Survivor Maryland and the whole rest of the campus was there, we saw you like drive around, and then like the next shot was like you just there. Where did you park your car, and did you get a ticket from Dots? Because you were like, I just stopped the car and ran out. Like, I feel like you got a ticket from Dots. Dots is like the people who hate everyone.
I paid more money to them than I care to divulge. But
wait, seriously?
Oh my God, every day. Because you like couldn't park there until you had to like move your car at 8 a.m. But I never woke up at 8 a.m. to move my car, and so I would always get tickets. But basically, I parked. That was actually my car that Austin showed. Austin, the pro photographer. But
seriously,
I literally just pulled in right there. There was a spot. It was like a meter spot, like right to the turtle. And so I pulled in right there. I got in the car. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I was in view of my car the whole time. So no, they did not get me this one time.
Wow. It was like 2 a.m. They don't take you 2 a.m. Well, the one thing Dots doesn't do.
I wasn't even stalking Alex G. I was just driving back to the garage.
Yeah, see, not a stalker. He has to He has to get over that. If you did,
oh, sorry, go.
If you did, this is my real question. If you did have that idol, would you have played it that night?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. But if I had the idol, I probably would have tried to figure out who they were voting for.
Do you remember, this is a good time to talk about this. Do you remember what the plan, I think it's in Secret Scene, so I might have it out there, but do you remember what the whole plan was about Chris T giving up immunity? Because we saw it, like, the allusion to it.
Yeah, so we had talked about that literally right before the vote, Chris Thomas would give me the immunity necklace, and that would just send them into a frenzy right before the vote, because they wouldn't be able to talk about, oh my God, who are we switching to? And they would have never thought that possibility in the first place, that we might have been able to get at least one of them to not vote the correct person. So it would have been a 5-4-1 or a 5-3-2. And so, you know, Chris Thomas was soft act and didn't go through with it. You know, probably a smart move. But yeah, but we were pulling out all the stops. We were like willing to do almost anything to gain the advantage. And I mean, I was about 40% sure Chris Thomas would do it, because I didn't want to pressure him, because like if it didn't work and he went out on Rocks, I would have shut up, Chris. I would have felt terrible. But yeah, no, it was definitely a possibility.
Amanda, I had a couple, but what was your follow-up, your second question?
It was also like you mentioned, like I think in one of your confessionals, that you thought it was a smart move to play the idol, the Chris Lecomte vote. Do you still like stand by that, or do you wish you wouldn't have played the idol?
I mean, I still think it was a smart move, just because like I was originally going in planning on not voting or not playing it. So I was like threatening all week that I was going to play it. And I was just trying to get information from everybody to figure out if I really needed to play it. But Chris came at me like right before Tribal and basically told me that all of them were voting Victoria. And I'm like, okay, there's a 0 chance he would tell me they're voting Victoria if they were actually voting Victoria. So that made me skeptical that if they weren't 100% sure that they had Chris Thomas, Shannon, and Alex G, that they might just take the risk of throwing all their votes on me. And so that was definitely a big possibility. And also I had, even if they did mess up like they did and tried to split the votes, which was stupid, there was the chance that one person would flip. I didn't think it'd be Alex G, but there was, and I didn't think it'd be Shannon, but there was always a chance that Shannon could flip because, or Polisenti, I guess, because
True.
because they were best friends. Like, they were legitimately best friends. And I was hesitant to make the move because I didn't want to put Shannon in that awkward spot. But literally, it took one person to mess up for me to go home, or the other side to literally throw all their votes on me.
Yeah.
There was too many possibilities for me to deal with. I had the fake idol to play around with, which obviously worked. They were afraid to vote me this week, which ended up being my downfall. But I felt like I had a lot of game left, and I didn't want to get voted out that week.
Oh yeah, I saw it as really smart. I said this, I think, before you came on, that I thought it was.
Watching. I think I heard you say that.
Yeah.
He's a censor for every positive message.
Does anyone think King has like a baby face? He's like the biggest guy, but he looks like such a baby, like in the face.
Moisturizes, keeps that skin looking nice and soft.
Clearly.
I have a question that was actually submitted by Faluke for you, Shubal.
No way.
She asked, "Why are you always
lie?"
Oh, that was close, but why are you always peeing?
I didn't know
True.
how. I was always preparing for the hold on to the pole the longest. Or do you remember our season 1 challenge where we literally had to grasp that pole in those tiny little footholds? So I would always pee before the challenge because I was always ready to go at least 12 or 14 hours in a challenge. Now I was not going to give up. So I would always pee right beforehand so that I didn't have to like pee halfway through the challenge. I mean, I felt like you kind of showed how like sketchy and odd I was, but not even to the real degree that it was. I always had cleats with me at the anticipation of Balloon Stomp. I always had like snacks just in case we had a long challenge and I needed to like refuel. I mean, it was just insane. I was literally a crazy person.
The goggles. Well, I remember even in season 1, there was like a real like Danny Pacious, who was like the Boston Rob of season 1. He would turn everybody against you by like poking fun at you asking so many questions at the challenge. Like I think that was actually something that turned like the whole tribe against you. Was he would like pick at your little nuances and make sure they were highlighted, and people would like rally to that.
Yeah, that's what he did. But I mean, did it really matter? Because like I would just win all those challenges because it was on a different level, the competition wise. Because like only half the season people really came to play that season. So like there were some really great players. Like Danny was, I'd put him in like one of the top 10, 15 Survivor Maryland players of all time. But then you had people like, what's her name? Nosheen, who like didn't show up to one challenge. Or Tyreek didn't even show up to the final challenge. Like,
yeah, season 1 was a different animal. My other question that I saw in the chat, and I want to make sure I don't forget about because
the bathroom. I have to defend the bathroom people.
Wait, I didn't see the bathroom one. I saw
the bathroom scene.
What bathroom? Him peeing at the dumpster?
No, when Shannon's like in the bathtub.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
a good time for strategy.
I know the answer to that. Shubal, do you remember the answer to that?
Yeah. So like I said, we got to Arlington with like 2.5 hours before the vote, so I'm like, Shannon, we need to talk. And she's like, oh, I'm like taking a bath. Like I have like stuff to do. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll come over. And like, she
had just ran I think it was the Marine Corps marathon, maybe.
She needed to like ice bath herself. So she like was in cold water. And so we were talking in there, and it basically was like, are you changing your vote? No. Are you changing your vote? No. Are we going to the rocks? Yes. And so that was pretty much the extent of it. But there was no boundary I wasn't willing to push to get farther in Survivor. And it just kind of became like commonplace for our alliance to just like go be very comfortable with each other and go to whatever extent. There was no like super strange story behind it. She was just taking an ice bath and we filmed it.
I printed out the photo of Ashley, by the way.
Oh my
God. This is why we stand. This is why we stand.
Terrence is gonna frame that and put that on his like bed frame. I swear.
Oh my God, this is why we stand, people. Like,
Ashley's
look
with
at
us
her.
on the
He's
everybody,
the
not
best.
just in the comments.
He's the best of all time.
Ashley, you need a restraining order on this man.
This is why I love Ashley. Any Ashley haters, just take screenshots of Ashley and you'll realize why.
Shubal, what was going through your head when you were in the closet?
So I was listening to some strategy talk, and I was like, all right, I want to see what Alex G really thinks of me. And he was like, oh, we can't be with Shubal long term, but like for the short, like we can't take him to the end, but like I trust him for now. And so I'm like, all right, that's like what I thought he would say. And
They were talking about your cleats, I remember. The cleats were sketchy.
oh yeah, they were talking about me being sketchy, which was like just commonplace. So it's like literally casual conversation at that point. And then they started getting into like their favorite movies and their like vacations, their hopes and their dreams. And I'm like, why am I in here? I was too afraid to move because I was literally sitting on my keys, and I was afraid if I moved, my keys would jingle, and then the whole thing would be exposed. And so I'm just sitting in the most uncomfortable position, like a half squat, like it's so cramped, and I was just so miserable. I almost thought about busting out and like surprising Alex, like surprise, it's a three-way conversation, but I didn't because that would have been stupid. But I was just thinking, please, I want this to end. Because they're not talking about anything. I was like, maybe I could use like this info on Alex's personal life to like build a better connection with him. But like, that was just so creepy on so many levels that I just wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. I was miserable. I almost filmed it, but my phone was off and I was afraid turning it on would sound the like buzzer or whatever.
Were you nervous when you were in your car watching the Sabrina tribal when she played like the fake idol? Were you just like sitting? Were you nervous people were gonna see your car?
No, because I was far enough away. I wasn't too nervous about that. But the reason I was there is because I wanted to get the timing right. I kind of wanted to fuck with the comps a little bit. And so basically, I like had all these missed calls, and when I would see he was about to answer, I just hang up. So like it looked like I was trying to get in contact with him. And then, like, as soon as he, like, gave his phone to Austin, so they would all sit at the bench, because Austin, like, collected our phones. I sent him this text about, like, warning him about Sabrina's idol and all this nonsense. So, yeah, so I wasn't nervous people were going to see my car, because who would have thought I would have stalked it? Like, who does that? But I do that.
Clearly.
Well, it helps. Scheming is really a lot easier when you actually. This is very similar to what Tony has said about his. Not you, Tony. Tony Vlachos from Survivor has said about his game is like both of you just don't sleep. I think that's honestly a good strategy. Just don't sleep in Survivor.
You'll see as the season goes on, the bags under my eyes get bigger because the more likely I could get voted out. I just would not sleep. So like, I see like earlier in the season, a lot of my confessionals were shirtless because I was season 1. I didn't realize anybody would see this. So I would just wake up at like 4:30, 4:45 in the morning and just start doing a confessional because like all these thoughts are running through my head. I couldn't sleep. And I was like, oh crap, what if like they're vote splitting or what if they're doing this? So I didn't sleep at all. I pulled all-nighters pretty much every night. I was going pretty much insane, but I was loving every second of it. I was having so much fun.
That sounds like Tony.
Yeah, I feel like Tony and I are very similar players in that, like, we were kind of, like, socially out there, but, like, you have to appreciate the amount of effort and the amount of creativity that, you know, we're willing to push the boundaries of what's allowed, what's not allowed. And I felt like Tony was a lot of fun to watch. So I, you know, if I could be compared to Tony in any way, I would be more than ecstatic about that.
And, yeah, I was for someone who had such a big edit, and you, I think, had the biggest edit of the season so far. You definitely also had by far the most unaired confessionals. I mean, you sent me like 7 a day. It was even more than Feluke and Terrapin Trials. You were setting records.
It was
Who had the longest confessionals, like when they'd come to your room?
What do you say?
No, it's for Austin. It's for Austin.
I think. Well, me and Evan used to just like hang out there and like watch Cuts and Lore videos, and like he would say stupid shit for like a while. But I don't remember. I had like very long ones for a good portion of the season. I think I had like an hour and a half one with Victoria at one point. Like, yeah, there were some long things. A lot of on-air footage. So it's 11:20. I want to ask if the panel has any more questions for Shubal before we kick him off, rock him out again, and then finish recapping the night and go to bed. Any other questions you guys have? Not even JS.
Oh my god! And I'm going through my notes, and I'm like, what can I just like?
I'll add something interesting. So I think during the episode, you saw there was like a super long edit of me picking the idol, which like some people might think that it's like because, or not picking the rock. Some people might think it's because I went out and so you were trying to build a suspense, but it actually took that long because there were 3 dominoes left. And I knew one was the black domino, so I'm like, oh.
It was purple. It was purple this season. I promise you.
Yeah, I was like, the black domino probably has a different texture. So I felt every domino trying to feel which was the roughest, which was the smoothest. So I actually picked a different domino at first and then switched because I felt like the texture of the other domino probably was not the black one because it felt like, I think it felt rougher. So I was like, oh, the paint probably made it smoother. And so it not only do I have to be like, oh, did I play this game wrong? I'm like, what if I had just stuck with my original domino? How would the game have played out? Like, how would everything have been different? And that's what probably like lingers with me the most is that I just overthinking everything. I decided to change my own fate and just totally screw myself.
Sad.
That's crazy. Yeah.
You did pick for a long time in there. I even cut some out at the last second. I was like, I don't want to linger on too long or people are going to think that I'm building up that you're going or something. I was like, but you really picked there for like 5 minutes and I was like, Shubal, it's time. It's time to pick.
Every aspect of the game, which, you know, had some good parts and had some like annoying bad parts too.
All right. Well, I think we've gotten a lot. Thank you for coming on, Shubal, to talk. And I mean, I talk to you all the time, but it was certainly a joy to watch you play this All-Star season, and I can't thank you enough for what you brought. And it was so fun for me to, as the tribe did clap. It was so fun for me to even just knowing what happened to go into the season and know that people were so excited about this cast and literally did not even know one of the biggest pieces of it, had no idea who you were. So. Besides, like the 4 people who had seen or like Shubal stand.
Real fans.
Yeah. But thank you for coming on, and we will hear from you again after the finale or whatever, I'm sure. And but it was a lot of fun to watch you play.
All right, well, thanks for having me on, Austin, and thanks for editing such an amazing season. Even though this episode was bittersweet for me, you do a great job every time, and I'm super looking forward to watching these future Survivor Maryland players play.
No, you don't want to.
Yeah, you know.
Shout out to Anders for being the new host.
Yeah, go Anders. Shout out.
Oh my God! Wait, Anders is obsessed with you. I have to say it.
I love
does
it.
not stop talking about you like every second, like every moment of his life. He's like, no, Shubal's amazing. He's the best. So I thought you'd win because he wouldn't stop talking about you all the time. But it's just you played so incredibly. That's why I was talking about you.
Anders and I are besties. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah,
Well,
he always talks about you.
These 2 weeks were also great for people who have been telling me the whole season that Shubal or Lecomte won because they were in the comments section, and I was like, okay, you keep thinking that, guys.
I mean, we probably would have been commenting even if we wrote it out like first and second. So.
Right.
No, my 2 winner picks are still in the game.
Wow, we'll get to that in a bit. Don't spoil those, Chaz. We're almost there.
All right. Well, I'll leave you guys. It was great talking to you guys.
All right, Shubal, it was fun. Talk to you soon.
Thanks talking to you too.
All right, we're back. Shubal's gone. Now we're back to the real stars.
Okay, is Chris T a lawyer?
I wanted to know that. I
was
don't know.
wondering
Said future lawyer. It's been 3 years. It's a lawyer.
He's going to law school in a month. Less than a month.
Oh, that's pretty good. Where's he going?
University of Baltimore.
Baltimore?
Really putting his life on blast. Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, if you play these games, you put yourself on blast.
That's true. That's true.
My other question is, Maybe that was all. I don't know. That I have so many questions written down, but that was one of them.
Well, if you have other questions for me, feel free. Otherwise, let's get into the chat questions for a bit. If there are any more questions about the episode that they can direct to you guys on your thoughts on people or how they played or whatever, and then we'll wrap up with some winner picks and move on from there. So, chat, now's your time for any questions. Do you guys have more thoughts you want to put out there while we're waiting for those to come in? Amanda walked away, so that was a very offensive question, I think.
Oh, is Amanda in the dorms?
No, I'm in my apartment.
Oh, okay.
My laptop's just about to die.
Okay, here's one we can start with. We Are Funny 1000 says, is Victoria a dark horse or just not really important this season?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out too.
I think there's just so much. I know Victoria. She's a hard player. You know, there's no one she isn't talking to. You know, I just think there's so much, and there's bigger moves and prettier, sexier moves that are happening. And I just feel like it hits the ground on the editing room floor. I think that's where Victoria's at. And then we'll see more of her as, you know, there's less and less people. I do think she goes farther.
I think even Chris LeCompte said it last week. I think he said that, like on the show, he said that Victoria's relationships with people like Evan and Micah were so important when they did like the vote split between Shubal and Victoria. It's like they could have, I guess, considered going all Victoria, but the fact that she had these good relationships made people not want to, because pretty sure Holly and Ashley both said like, we won't vote Victoria. So I think that kind of showed too that she has a lot of relationships that are good. I don't think they're very flashy right now, but I think that you can see her relationships with all these people really are coming through, why she still is here, even after being like, could have been targeted pretty easily at many different points.
Yeah. And I think also, like, if I were her, I think it would have been hard to play a really flashy game with Feluke still in the game. Because I'm not going to try and, like, go into that or really, like, I don't know how that is for them or how it was then, but I think like that probably definitely complicates her game in a way that like a lot of people didn't have.
Okay. I think those are good answers on that one. Evan Hying, whoever that is, some guy named Evan, he asks, who from All-Stars do you wish was in your season?
Ooh, I like this question.
Yeah.
I really like this.
Can we pull up the cast list, or they just not to be playing?
I want to look at the face.
It could be the whole list. I don't care.
Wait, give me a second.
All right.
JS, you can't say Ashley.
Okay, Ashley for sure.
You can't.
I think Holly and I would work with each other
No,
for a
you
little
never,
bit.
you never want to play a game with Holly. She'll slit your throat.
That's true, but like for a little bit.
No, never. Never play a game with Holly.
Evan and Micah, because they're beautiful people, for sure. I'd really want to play with Feluke, because I just think the tribals would be fucking lit with her. Like there'd be so much shouting, like the police would be called, I swear. I don't know. Those are my answers.
My answer is Sabrina. I think she was really funny, especially I think her first season she was kind of like bratty, but I think this time around she was a lot more fun and like a lot more strategic. So I would have wanted to play with her.
Yeah, on one hand, I'm like playing with like someone like Shubal. I think would be super fun. He seems like he contributes a lot, and is he someone I would absolutely hate or want to work with? I don't know. That's up in the air. I think that Micah and Evan do seem cool to strategize with. They seem to win a lot of their challenges in too, so that would be some more fun people that I'd like to play with.
I think Chris T actually, just because mainly based on the position in this game. Like I didn't like how Shannon at one point was like, oh, am I like reduced to working with like, she named like 2 other people, but Christy was one of them. And I was like, this isn't high school. Like, it's not like we're like too good to work with people. Like you should always like want another number on your side. And I think like I could have worked decently well with Christy. So.
Also, who was that? Who like went out really early? That like was amazing.
Well, this can transition into which eliminated player.
Right? Is that her? Right? Yeah, I love her. I would really want to play
I
with her.
knew you were gonna say that. I don't know why, but I knew you were gonna say her.
I just like stand with her. I'm like standing right up next to her, like making fun of the flip phones in the room. Like that's amazing.
Chase is totally pandering to the fans now.
No, I'm not. You know, I just like the big characters.
No, I know. You and Siona would definitely click well. I would
You think we'd collide?
No. Click.
Oh yeah. I friended her on Facebook.
She's probably like, who is this? Who is this random kid?
I friended all the players, and they're just like, there's 34 mutual friends. I'll say yes.
The question was for everybody else too. Who's just your favorite eliminated player?
Ooh.
Definitely Sabrina.
Not Ryan. He's so boring.
I think the question was who is your favorite, not who's not your favorite.
Chris,
No shots at Ryan.
Chris Lecomte. I owe him a lot. He's a good guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh wait, that makes it hard. Yeah, I liked Chris Lecomte a lot too. I still stick with Sabrina.
I think we were robbed of seeing more of Siona, and then I agree with my bae Amanda about Sabrina. She was really fun this season.
I think she definitely gets most improved in my book, because I liked her as a person, like in her first season, but I think she really actually played the game well.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Chris Lecomte on like a personal level, and he was just fun. He's a fun character to watch if you love him or hate him. You can't argue that he's a fun person to watch. Shubal was super fun too, and then I would have liked to see Ryan go a little further and see what he did.
Oh my God, no! He's so boring.
I respect Ryan. No, I agree. I would have liked to see Ryan.
I don't know what he would have done.
I would have wanted to see more of Feluke, but I think when she was on, we really didn't get a lot of Feluke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She wasn't there. I think last week when they were on this like little talkie thingy, they didn't like really, Feluke wasn't like fully 100% in it. Maybe because she started a little bit late.
Yeah.
But we didn't get a full Feluke this season. It was so exciting to see her, but yeah.
Well, but I think also the point of it was like, and the point I think she was trying to make is that like she had changed a lot since the first time she played, and she was happy about that change.
Yeah, I also, somebody asked me like, why'd you include the Feluke Holly alliance if it didn't pan out? I was like, did you want to see Feluke? Like there wasn't that much. Initially, I had one of those cuts out of the episode. I was like, well, people want to see the.
Do you want to see
Feluke? Here's a question that Anders Norberg, some new name that asked. Now that our two big narrators are gone, and Lecomte and Shubal, I think were two of the bigger ones. Who do you think will take over that role, or are you excited hoping takes over that role?
I think I can definitely see Holly and Shannon taking over.
Yeah.
I think that they've had their big moments of they're not afraid to call someone out. Holly yelling at Chris Lecomte is still in the car is still like one of the best.
No, I think she really became like one of my favorites for that, because she was like, I'm still having fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. And then Shannon calling out Shubal, like great.
The Soko Trio tribe, like they're big narrators. They've been narrators all season long. They each have their little episodes. I think Chris Thomas also, we'll see more from him, and I think he's really going to go far, and we're going to see him narrate the rest of the season.
Okay. We've talked about this a little bit earlier. Oh, wait, somebody said the Shubal return for season 6 air and beyond. No, Shubal graduated. He was old. So no return for Shubal.
He was
he was old.
Yeah, very old. Surviving Real Foot, shout out to Jorge, I think, says, who will be the first to flip on the tops alliance of Micah, Evan, Holly, Ashley, and King? I know we talked about things for this, but you want to state your claim to one person who's the first to flip?
I would say Holly, if anyone.
Is there any chance King also could flip? I agree with Holly, but is there the only other one I can also think of is King for some reason, because Shannon's over there.
Oh, but I remember King and Ashley had a bad night or whatever, so maybe he'll vote her out.
Yeah. I don't really see this happening. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say without Lecomte, it's a lot different because you kind of have it's more like Evan have Ashley, Eric, Holly. It almost seems like, but I don't know where like Holly kind of fits. I think it's interesting. I like feel like it's been so unpredictable so far. You never know.
I want to know, like, what is the dynamic between the Soko trio? Because they had such this fallout, but then they've like remained in the game now together for 3 votes. And I just like want to know, are they talking? Are they like, you know, kind of playing around the idea of like coming back together? Maybe, you know, this is a better thing to bring up when Shubal's here, because I just like want to know more about those 3 together in the game. Like, is there any like, hey, you should come back over here? No, you should come over here. You know what I mean? Because they are like such good friends. Anyone can talk about that? Maybe someone in the chat.
I feel like they're like Shannon was just like, oh, like clearly I'm not like a priority for them, so I'm gonna do my own thing. And like I think that later on, if she needs them, she'd be willing to work with them again. But it's just like right now in the game, like they don't like trust each other fully, and they're on 2 different sides. So it's kind of like they want different things at this point. So I feel like they're not like together right now, but I think that they're all open to working with each other again if they need to, because they like all want to go to the end. And I feel like if they're at the end together, they all have an equal chance to win, because I don't think any one of them is playing much better than the other one, and they're all like threats, you know? So I feel like they know that they each have a chance to win if they go to the end together.
Mm-hmm. And we can see how like past relationships can really affect the future or not. You can see Holly, Victoria working together, but also like Eric lying to Sabrina. There are things that people like that have worked together who don't now do, and it's changing constantly, and I think it will continue to for the rest of the season.
I think it'd be really
I
smart.
forgot that they're like that. I forgot Holly and Victoria are like, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. I think it'd be really smart if like Shannon and Micah and Evan teamed back up, especially for like the guys. I think Evan and Micah need Shannon more than the other way around. But because I think the problem in season 4 was that they were so apparent about how close they were. I think that was a big problem even in this season for different people. But I think if they could team back up and do it more secretly, it could go really well for them. But I don't really see it happening.
Okay, I think we're at the point of the night where we should get your guys's. Let's go with your final 3 picks.
Okay.
And then because we're at final 9 now, we're not that far away. So your final 3 pick, and then who wins out of that. And I've said final 3. I don't mean like final travel or whatever. I've said it's a final 2. So, but you know,
Anders had a good question though.
I think it's a final 2.
Oh, it's final 2. Yeah.
Oh.
That was
Oh wait, really?
That was said at the beginning.
Oh, do the players know that?
Yeah.
I don't remember when I actually told them, but I think it was pretty early that it was. I don't know if I put it in the episode, but I've said it. They knew.
Wow.
So give your final 3. Just who makes it to the last challenge.
Wait, who do we want to make it, or who we think will make it there?
Who we think. If you want to say if you want to say you want to, that's fine. Who do you think?
Okay. Can someone give me a second?
Start writing those down before that. So I guess write down your picks. Anders asked a really good question that I totally should ask. And I probably should have asked earlier, but whatever. So Anders says, being Survivor Maryland players, what insight does that give you in watching this show? How does having this experience change your perspective on watching these episodes? I think we've talked a little bit about that with the whole stalking thing. I think there's 2 that it can relate to. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Ooh, I can answer like the perspective thing. Like I feel like when you watch these like clips and stuff, you really like when you can see how like you like the flaws that you made when you were talking to people, because it's literally like this, like it's the same spots on campus, people will be filming and stuff like that. So it really just like brings you back into your own conversations, and it's just like, whoa, like I did something completely wrong here. And like then you realize, like watching other people, you see how you can also be creative and stuff, and like how they like Shubal invented all these lies and stuff, and it's like, wow, I should have done something like that. Like when I thought that maybe I was in trouble one week, I should have been like creating lies or something. I don't know. That's why.
Yeah, I think you see how much time truly gets you understand how much time truly gets put in, because you see these conversations, they last about a minute on air, maybe a little bit more or less. But it's like, I promise you, they last no more than like 25 minutes unless you're like
Hours.
actually in a super rush. Like they're like hours, and you're
Hours.
constantly texting these people, calling at inconvenient times. There's so much more that goes on to than just this minute conversation. That's why like the Chris LeCompte Shannon vote seems so difficult. There's previous relationships, just texting people, and that takes up so much of your time that you really don't get to see if you don't really understand.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that Doug said. Like, you send confessionals for like 3 hours, and Anders is trying to kick you out because he
Okay,
like
that's
wants
not
to
normal. That was just you.
whatever. But like,
Just-
and then like a minute of it gets aired, and then like you talk with so many people, and none of it gets aired, and it's just like it's really
You haven't had your whole season aired yet. How would you know?
like I just know like whatever. Anders is gonna air nothing. No scenes I'm in.
But yes, maybe that's a sign that you talk too much.
Yes, it's like they haven't aired 1 second of my conversations. This is ridiculous.
Whatever.
I think like also this was said last week on like the recap too. People were like, "Oh, it's not like your teachers know." Like, no, I literally had a teacher who knew that I was playing and like would ask me about it like weekly. Like it kind of took over my life. And I think like that's what people don't realize is like honestly how much you sacrifice like of your time. And I think a lot of people are like, for what? And I think Shubal like said it really well. Like it's really fun.
So much fun. Oh my gosh.
I have my
Doug, do you think it's fun? Doug,
What did you say?
do you think playing Survivor is fun?
Yeah, it's pretty great. I've made had a lot of good time.
I think it's just so memorable. Like there's just very few things that are that memorable all the time.
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
It's like unlike anything else.
Oh, I was actually gonna be. I'm gonna say gonna because like if I ended up coming to my audition, I would have been on. I was gonna be on season 4 because Austin was like, "Yeah, you should do this." And I was like, "Nah, that's lame. Like I'm waiting till I'm on the real show or whatever." And then I didn't go, but I had like my audition booked and everything for Survivor 4. And then I was like really pissed that I didn't like play. And then I asked him if I could be on All Stars, even though it was All Stars. And he said no. But my biggest regret was not playing on season 4, because then I could have been an All Star as well.
Yeah.
And played with Ashley Roach. Final 2.
That's borderline creepy. I think Alex G would have a problem with you stalking.
But Ashley would not have. So
No, I think those are really, really good perspectives. And, you know, I didn't want to dive too deep into perspectives because obviously we don't want to spoil anything that happens in your seasons. But I think, you know, I think it's got to be – I think people, when they go on The Real Survivor, they talk about how they come back and watch it after, and it's so different. I think part of that is kind of the production aspect of it. I think the points you guys make here about how much it takes over your life is what I think is so different about watching it back after having played. I think that All Stars does a pretty good job of showing how ridiculous everybody is and how they have at ridiculous hours and have tribals at random times and just are all the time doing everything. But you still can't even capture how crazy it really is.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris LeCompte the other day, and he said how when you like watch it back over, he said you like relive the feeling almost as if you were there, like even though it was years ago.
That's crazy. All right, so it's almost my bedtime. Let's go with those final 3 and winner picks. Does anybody want to start?
yeah, I'll start. I'm not going to do who I think will be in the final 3 together. My prediction is who I think is most likely to make it to the final 3, because one of these sides is going to cave in. I think the 3 people that are currently, you know, with the positions that everyone has, these 3 people are most likely to get to the final 3: Micah, Victoria, and Chris Thomas. And my overall prediction of who I think wins is either Chris Thomas or I kind of also think Micah wins. I'm like kind of debating between those 2 things. But those are 3 people I think who are most likely to get there.
Okay. I'm guessing Amanda, based on her takes, disagrees with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, well, actually, yeah, I'm gonna say I think Ashley, Alex G,
No.
and Chris Thomas get there.
Wait, what? Ashley, Alex G, and Chris Thomas? Okay.
I agree with JS how I'm saying, like, I don't know how they would get there together, but I actually don't think it has, like, a ton to do with that, because I think in the end it's, like, becomes so much about whether you win a challenge or not.
It's going to be the big targets just, like, going home, too.
Yeah. I mean, I also think, like, there's a weird chance, like, King could get there. I don't think he'd win, though. I'm going to say I think Chris T wins, but I don't know. I'm trying to imagine, like, the jury, like, respecting him. But I don't know. People have come around to him, so I'll stick with it. I'll say Chris T.
Wow. I thought I was alone with that.
Yeah, I should have gone first because, okay, I was thinking Chris Thomas, Holly, and Ashley. I think that they each will have their way of getting there and have their relationships that have got them this far and will continue to do so. And they don't stand out as like huge players, but have like really good background relationships. So I think I was gonna say Chris Thomas, I think out of those might win just because he's like has a great comeback story. Yeah. He's been able to survive while he could, and then has made power. He's been able to finally like gain so much power at a point where he literally was just hanging on by like his friendship with Eric and Chris.
Yeah,
three.
Yeah, mine kind of combines both of those. So I think Ashley, Holly, and Micah will be there, and then I think Micah. It's either Micah or Chris Thomas. I can't really choose one between.
Wow!
No,
I swear we didn't talk before.
Yeah, that's what. I just think Ashley gets dragged to the end. Sorry, Ashley, but that's just what's gonna happen.
She's a queen. Yeah. No, she's a queen. With her like speech, maybe
she's really entertaining. Like she definitely has a place as an all-star, and she definitely is an all-star, and she's playing. Like I give her a lot of credit. I didn't really watch season 2, but like I know she didn't make it far, and like the fact that she was able to stay in, like that's all the credit to her. But like I feel like in this cast, like there's just other people who are much better players. Like no offense to you at all.
And I think like she is Holly, and I think like the decisions that Holly's making in a way makes sense for Ashley. So it kind of it makes it look like she's not doing stuff.
But I do think I kind of feel like Micah's the winner. I don't know why, but I've just had this like creepy feeling.
I've had that feeling since like episode 3 when he had like some confessionals, like he's the winner. And then lately I've just been seeing Chris Thomas just like kill it and be this great underdog story. So I know like Austin's there with the edit and he's like switching around for next week, but
I changed out the boots just to mess with everybody. The whole order is actually my manufactured thing to throw everyone off.
No, I'm not super factoring like the edits for the win, but like I think you have to consider it a little bit. But honestly, most of the people, like if Evan gets the end, I think he wins. I think if Shannon gets the end, I think she wins. And any of those types of people, and a few more of them, if any of those types of people happen to get to the end, so you never know. You win a few competitions, you make a few good moves, you make it to the final 5, they let you get to the final 4. It's just a few more comps until you win.
Yeah. I think I'm rethinking what I said, and I think it being a final 2, I think Chris Thomas has to win that final challenge with the people I said.
Yeah.
Who?
So, but I think it like very well could. So.
Yeah. What have you had, Austin? Have you had a final 2 before? Okay, you have. I don't know why I said that. You had a final 2 season 3, right?
Yeah.
So assuming final 5, final 2 is like hold on to the pole thingy, the thingy, whatever it is, like it's gonna be whoever wants it most. I can see like
Micah will win. Micah's won it, or Micah got 2nd place before the Alex Pascal.
Really?
Yeah.
You're thinking of a different chat. The poll.
No, challenge. I'm thinking of the compass challenge.
You're thinking of sundial.
The sundial. Oh.
It'd be fun to watch Victoria do that again.
Oh my God, yes! And like Luke just has to make an appearance. Like she just has to walk by like during like the 8 hours that like Victoria's out there for some reason.
No, I feel like let's give Victoria I would want Victoria to like have a completely different experience.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Okay. Well, this was really fun to talk to you guys, and I hope everybody is just at least a little bit more, if not a lot more, excited for the seasons that are to come. You should be anyway. It's Survivor Maryland. It's going to be fun. And as we'll hopefully keep crushing it in the editing department. And hopefully when All Stars is wrapped up, we'll have some looks at season 6 at some point. But really fun to talk to you guys. Really fun to read the chat all night. We had a really good turnout tonight, and it was a crazy episode to talk about. Should be interesting to see next week. We'll have a fun recap again, and look, this season is going to be fun. It's going to be exciting until the very end. So what that means for future weeks, we'll see. But I love this season, and I'm really ready to get to the rest of it. So I will keep pushing through these episodes. And any other words that you guys want to say, social media plugs or anything that you want to throw out there?
Jägermeister5. You'll find me. Thank you guys for watching, though. Please stick with it. It's been so fun for all of us, and we do it because we see the great reactions based off the comments from all of you, and it's fun to see oh, I wonder what they're gonna comment about me in the future. So thank you so much for making this such a big thing.
Yeah, no, I think All Stars has really been it's been weird to watch. I'm what are people gonna see about my season? But yeah, I think definitely stick with it. Like Doug said, it's been, I think, really fun for all of us for sure.
JS, you have nothing to plug?
Oh my God. I just love Survivor Maryland. It's so great. We had a kid come to Maryland just to play Survivor Maryland.
That is true. That has happened.
More than one, probably, but I'm thinking of one specific one. And it's so great. I'm a really big Big Brother fan. I tweet about it. I Instagram about it sometimes.
We know.
I also love Survivor. You can follow me at JKnox. That's the letter J and then NACHS. But yeah, I think.
How do you not have an S in your Twitter handle?
Knox.
No, but like after the J.
You know what? I have written the guy on Instagram over 100 times who has the handle JAYS, and I've offered money for his handle, and he just doesn't respond. Trust me, I've tried. Instagram's a lot. Twitter's a lost cause. I only have 200 followers on
It
it.
is the most extrovert I know.
I am very extra.
Really funny.
It's something to look forward to, right? Yeah. So follow me, please. I like follows. I'm like Frankie Grande. I'm like a whore.
Are you a social media mogul?
I am a social media mogul. My sister is Ariana Grande.
I did see somebody gave the Ryan Ulrich comment in the chat.
Yeah, I was the guy who took a picture with Rob Cesternino, and he posted it on his Twitter.
It's true. It's true. And people really did believe that it was Ryan Ulrich. So.
I know. It's weird. Oh, I got to follow everyone.
Yeah, it is. We did it. All right. Well, I'm going to go. It's 800 degrees here in this apartment, and that's why I've had this towel all night that I've been wrapping myself in. It's really, really hot. But I'm going to go try to sleep. And it's been fun to talk to you guys and to everybody else. So thanks again for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Killing it, Austin. What the heck? So good.
The what?
Yeah, I can't wait to watch
it's so good. Keep killing it.
Oh yeah, All Stars is great. I'm just working with what they get. So
yeah, this is a great season to be. It's so much better than the past 2 or 3 seasons of Real Survivor. Seeing all that boring shit, this is so much better. Those personalities they cast, I'm just you fucking idiot.
Yeah, they should start pulling from the All Stars pool. I'm on board with that. Okay, I'm gonna sign off.
I can't wait until one of us is casted on one of the shows. That'd be so wonderful.
It needs to happen.
We can
I
make
can't
it
believe Chris Lecomte hasn't been casted.
I know. And Beluke. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look, just to go back to earlier, maybe this is why the shakeup is happening. Let's, the Survivor.
Yeah, right? Down with Lynn. Now all we need is Tasty to get fired, and we're good.
Going from Lynn to Maryland? Does that work? I don't know. We can workshop that. All right. I will see everybody next Monday for another episode, and I'll have some secret scenes coming up, including the hotly debated Dizzy Bat obstacle course crew challenge. We'll see that. So, and there's Ashley. Ashley,
what's up, Coach? That's actually pretty funny, Jay.
Yeah,
Let's end it on a good note.
Okay. On that note, we're gonna sign off, and thanks to everybody.
I have to go pee
Thank
so
you
bad.
all.
Okay, bye.